Huge news out of Edmonton today as the Oilers have fired head coach Dave Tippett after an embarrassing home loss to the Chicago Blackhawks last night. And it's really not all that surprising given how disappointing the Oilers have been this season. We'll get into the details coming right up. Hey everybody, so the NHL news keeps on flying at us as we got major changes for the Edmonton Oilers this morning after an embarrassing 4-1 home loss to the Chicago Blackhawks last night. They have fired head coach Dave Tippett as well as assistant coach Jim Playfair and replaced them with Bakersfield Condors head coach from the AHL, Woodcroft, and also brought up Dave Manson as an assistant to replace Playfair. So obviously big changes here for the Oilers, who are in the midst of a very disappointing season and a very disappointing stretch of their season, just trying to get back into a playoff spot. And all in all, I certainly do not think that this is surprising given the year that the Oilers have had. This was a team that was supposed to be competing up at the top of the Pacific, one of the better teams in the Western Conference. And that just hasn't been the case this year at all. If we look at where the Oilers are at right now in the standings, they are in 5th place in the Pacific Division outside of a playoff spot, 5 points behind the Calgary Flames. They've lost their last 2 games on home ice coming out of the All-Star break in really embarrassing fashion, getting shut out 4-0 by the Vegas Golden Knights, and then last night losing 4-1 to the Chicago Blackhawks, who are worse than the Edmonton Oilers and lower than the Edmonton Oilers in the standings. So really 2 bad losses for the Oilers coming out of the All-Star break. And I think they finally said enough is enough because this team is in serious danger of missing the playoffs. I've said earlier in the year that this team looks like they're going to miss the playoffs, and it still does to me. They are in serious danger of missing the playoffs. But this is the kind of move that could really shake things up for the Oilers. This is the kind of move that could possibly turn their season around and turn the tides of this season. Woodcroft is not a guy that I really know a lot about, but I do know that he's been an assistant coach at the NHL level under Todd McClellan. He's been the head coach of the AHL team for the Oilers in Bakersfield, and he's done a pretty good job down in the AHL. He's a guy that the younger players who have played for him in the AHL are going to have familiarity with, and he's a young coach. He's a young coach, only 45 years old. He's going to bring a fresh, new perspective to the Oilers, and this is his chance. This is his chance to try and turn this team around and show what he can do at the NHL level. So it's really exciting to get to see a good young coach get a chance at the top level, and I can't imagine it's going to go any worse than it did under Dave Tippett. I mean, I think worst case at this point for the Oilers is that things continue to go the way that they already are. Woodcroft doesn't really change anything, and the Oilers are about what they are out of the playoffs in a really disappointing season. Best case scenario, however, is they get a big boost from this coaching change. They get a chance to turn their season around. They get a chance to string some wins together, and maybe they can pull themselves back into a playoff spot. But all in all, Dave Tippett is gone from the Edmonton Oilers. He obviously was not working out, was not doing good enough this year, was not getting enough out of this team, and the Oilers have decided to make a change. Will that change actually have a big effect? We're going to have to wait and see. I think a lot of the Oilers' issues are roster-related and not necessarily coaching-related. However, coaching definitely wasn't helping. So you might as well get a new coach in there. You might as well give somebody else a shot and see if they can get more out of this team than what they've been getting. But still, I think the goaltending, the defense, the depth, all issues that still remain, and changing the coaching isn't going to have any effect on that. However, it's definitely not going to make things worse. So I do think that this is a good move for the Edmonton Oilers, and we'll see what kind of effect Woodcroft can have as the coach the rest of the way. But that That's some big news, certainly this morning up in Edmonton, as they finally make a coaching change and are trying to turn this season around. But with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our merchandise store, membership, and donation links are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.